Welcome to Comicstorian Weekly, the weekly comic book show where we talk about comic books that came out last week. This week we are going to be going over what came out on February 19th. It is myself and Andy. How are you doing, Andy?
I'm great. That was a perfect way to describe our show, by the way.
You like
the
it?
weekly comic review show where we review comic books of the week. I like it. Nicely done.
This show is streamed live every Monday at twitch.tv/Comicstorian after our mystery cast that starts at 2 p.m. Eastern. Is also supported by our subs over there and our Patreons at patreon.com/Comicstorian, where for $2 you get access to this podcast, other podcasts, and great content. All right, so we're going to jump right on in because there were a lot of pages of comics this week, and yeah, I honestly don't know how many actually had comics and how many were just repeats of the same comic but in different languages.
I think there was only like 4 pages that we actually
something
read
like
stuff
that.
from.
So just to play it safe, we'll go ahead and start right now. Number 1 is 2020 Machine Man. Did you see this or read this one?
I did not, no. I know you've been reading the 2020, so I figured you would get
so this is
one.
a part of the Iron Man 2020.
Right.
So not the like 2099 or anything like that. This is the Iron Man. We get, if you read Iron Man 2020 number 2, I think it was, Machine Man saw Jocasta fly off, and he ditched his station to go after her.
Okay.
This issue is essentially his origin and what he does in that situation. Like he goes and it's pretty good. I learned about a character I knew nothing about, and it was definitely, in my opinion, needed. Because if you don't know who Machine Man is, this is really good to know so that you can understand like the reasoning behind his actions, why he is so in love with Jocasta, like why he is the way that he is. So yeah, I would actually recommend this one if you have been enjoying the Iron Man 2020. It is a 1 of 2, so I don't know what the next one's going to be, and it does look like it is a longer than normal because it is 34 pages. So something to keep in mind with that one. Next up on our list is Aquaman number 57. Oh, sorry. Nope. I went one ahead. The Amazing Mary Jane number 5. I know. I named one that you probably read and then went back to one that you definitely did not.
Correct.
This Amazing Mary Jane, honestly, actually was a lot better than the other ones. This one had a little bit more action. It felt like they were, I believe this is the second to last issue. And it felt like everything finally came to a conclusion, that you got the cool Mary Jane being awesome. You get to see the movie, the villains. Like it essentially wrapped a lot of it up in this one issue. And I actually did enjoy it. So it'll be interesting to see how this concludes in the next issue. But yeah, this one was a good fight issue, I would say. Aquaman 57. I will let you talk about this one.
So this is after they took down the Black Manta mecha thing.
Yep.
Mira kind of pushed her powers beyond what they should have done. She kind of drops in this one. So essentially this issue, I guess it's kind of a bridging issue into the next arc.
Yep.
So that Arthur is forced to go back to Atlanta, the lost city of Atlanta, and to bring Mira to the hospital there. And it's just kind of like Aquaman's kind of catching up on what's going on there. A little bit of the infighting between the Atlanteans who have I forget what they call the disease now, but the disease that's kind of going through Atlantis right now. And like the royalty and things like that. Orm shows up and things like that. Yep. So it wasn't like there's been a lot of fighting in Aquaman, so this was more of a slowdown issue. Aquaman meets his daughter, that sort of thing. So that's pretty much the issue.
There was
honestly.
a part in this one where I got very concerned of what was going to happen to that baby.
Oh yeah.
When they were talking about her exerting her powers and the way that it worked, I was like, no.
Like, oh shit,
please don't do that.
But instead, his daughter was born
very, very early,
4 months early, something like that.
Like very, very early.
So that's essentially this issue. It doesn't even really set up the next arc as far as I could figure. I assume it's going to have something to do with the daughter and Norman and all that stuff.
Yeah, this one seemed to mostly be an issue of, okay, the Black Manta thing's done.
Yep.
We're wrapping up the whole pregnant thing. We're also introducing Aquaman back to Atlantis because the Atlanteans thought he was dead.
That is true, yes.
So that's really...
That was really the issue. But it was issue. I mean, it was a good issue. Yeah, if you've been enjoying Aquaman, keep going with it, which I have been. So, yeah.
Right.
I mean, overall, not a bad issue. Just not like a whole lot of action.
Definitely not.
But the last several issues have all been a giant mecha fight. So
way too action.
Yeah.
This was a much needed...
kind of cool down moment. Yeah.
So... all right. Speaking of Atlantis Attacks #2 of 5 did come out. This is I did not actually read this one. I completely forgot it came out.
I didn't even see it. Actually.
But this is the one with Namor fighting the Agents of Atlas.
Okay.
So it wasn't the Namor fight that I wanted, and so I think that's how I was able to skip over it. So on to one that both of us read, I believe, Batman 89. So this one is continuing the designer.
Yes.
The plot behind that, we finally see him, which I thought he actually had a kind of a cool outfit.
Yeah, he kind of like, I was trying to remember how, because you only see him briefly.
Very briefly.
Yeah, kind of a strange outfit with the design.
But I kind of dig
almost like a Victorian-ish kind of thing, yeah.
I kind of like it because it's very unique and does not look like they went, they went and grabbed this person and just changed it. Yeah,
just kind of changed it, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, we got some fun moments with Harley and Catwoman I thought was good.
Yep.
And learned a little bit more about what is actually going on. Mm-hmm. And also that apparently the Joker's got stuff going on.
Yep, the Joker's got stuff going on. I feel like, because in the last one, we learned that Catwoman had a big role in this.
Yes.
This one, she does confront Batman about it.
And she apologizes, too.
She apologize.
She didn't do the... Which is what I thought was going to happen. Like, you don't understand or blah, blah, blah.
Oh, you really thought that was...
I honestly thought that was how it was going to go.
I
thought this was their way of maybe trying to, like, not retcon the Catwoman thing immediately, but maybe kind of backpedal a little bit.
Right. I was, when I read this, my guess on the way that was going to go, considering we know we're going to be getting a Batman Catwoman
comic.
That
is true, yes.
Is I think this is going to be...
I blocked that out because of the Tom King thing.
People do. I think that this moment is going to be the changing moment in Batman, where before he would go, "Oh, you're a criminal, I can't trust you." And I think the big change in Batman is he's going to be like, "I trust you."
Right.
I forgive you. I trust you. Let's handle this together. And I think that's gonna.
We've changed as a couple kind of thing. I could see that. Yeah.
I think that's what they're gonna do. Because they would also, considering I believe 86 to 100 were supposed to still be in the Tom King part.
Yes.
And I think because they gave him Batman and Catwoman, that he actually had a hand in this arc.
It's possible it could have been some of his notes and things like that.
Maybe not this arc exactly, but the interaction between Batman and Catwoman. But good issue. I actually didn't like this one. I felt like there were some bits that finally got clarified a bit more.
I think so too, yeah.
The one thing that keeps frustrating me with this comic, though, is the fact that Lucius always refers to him as Mr. Wayne while he's in his Batman suit. And I just it always frustrates me when they say their name, because it's like, okay, if someone hijacked that signal.
But Alfred did the same thing. He always used to say Master Bruce. He never called him Batman. It was unless they were physically somewhere, Alfred never refers to him as Batman.
I guess it's been too long since I've read a comic with Alfred alive.
Yeah, generally speaking, Alfred always referred to him as Master Bruce.
Well, then that still annoys me as well. The point being...
Well, because the argument is always that Bruce sees himself as Batman. Mm-hmm. In Bruce's eyes, or mind, he is Batman. And Bruce is the alter ego. Whereas Alfred always saw him as the little boy that he raised.
Yeah.
So in his mind, he is Bruce Wayne.
That's fair.
And Batman is this thing he does.
That's fair. But that was just more of one of those ones, because like when you read other comics,
you're like, what if somebody hijacks your? Well,
not even just that. Like when they're in fights, they'll start and say the person's name.
Yes.
Like a lot of the time with Spider-Man, they'll go Pete, Spider-Man, and it's like, it's just Anyway.
I mean, I understand the argument. Yeah. What if somebody hijacked? Now, you got to assume Batman being Batman.
He wouldn't be able to get
Nobody's going to be able to hijack his stuff, but...
No, I
mean,
agree,
that's what he always thinks, and then, like, Ra's al Ghul will do it, but...
Anyway, that was Batman 89.
I am enjoying... The series itself as a whole, it was kind of a slow start, which is weird because it was already an action-y start. I guess plot-wise, it was a slow start.
The confusion made it slow.
Yeah. But by the end of the issue, we also learned that Joker is doing some stuff, which comes to play later on in Nightwing as well.
Does it?
He pops up in Nightwing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So next up on the list is Bloodshot Zero. I read this one. Very good.
It was a solid start issue, yeah.
Did you read this one?
I did, yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Because I wasn't sure if you were going to read it, so I was like, I better read this one.
So this one is essentially Bloodshot is trying to escape, as they always do.
Yeah, pretty much that's how every Bloodshot arc starts, I think.
Well, any Bloodshot or any superhero that has been used by bad people.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he's just in Russia and just standard trying to get away. I try to get out, but they keep pulling me back in.
And then he goes all Bloodshot on him. Yeah. If you like Bloodshot, it's a solid first issue.
I really enjoyed it.
If you don't know anything about Bloodshot, you might be a little confused.
Yeah.
There's a quick recap on the character, but it's not super in-depth.
Yeah. I feel like they give enough for you to understand. Because he does, like, explain how he gets the healing.
Yeah.
Like, he just doesn't really go into, well, it was because of Project Rising, or deep into that kind of stuff.
They kind of touch on it.
But I enjoyed it a lot, actually.
It was a pretty good
And the art was pretty solid as well. So, all right. Captain America number 19 came out this week. No one in the office reads Captain America. But Captain Marvel number 15 did come out. This is the one with Vox Supreme. So Vox fused with the Supreme Intelligence, the Kree. Captain Marvel's been fighting people. In this one, she starts off and she's fighting She-Hulk, to which the entire time she's like, crap. I could handle the other ones. Tony, I just had to deal with the suit. Black Panther, like she's just going through all of them. She's like, and she hits really hard.
Yeah.
But so she fights her, and I did like she also encounters Captain America, and I actually liked the interaction with them. I'll spoil it, because instead of like all the other ones where they fight her while they're like asking what she's doing, she steps up, sees Captain America, and he's like, "Is this the way it has to be?" She's like, "Yeah," and he drops his shield, and he's like, "I trust you." Like, if this is the only way, I trust you. And I was like,
think at some point all of the heroes would kind of figure it out. Yeah.
So I actually enjoyed that bit because it felt like the way you would expect the Avengers to work with one another.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. If you've been on a team long enough, you got to assume.
Exactly. But so this one is kind of seems to be the next one might be the climax of the story.
Nice.
Sorry. Because all the Avengers have been captured. She actually brings Clint Barton instead of Ghost Rider. Just because. And I like the fact that he's Vox Supreme's like, he doesn't have powers. And she's like, that's debatable, actually.
He's really good with that bow.
Hey, I'm pretty sure that he has luck-based powers as well.
It's possible.
Because he makes shots he should not be able to make. Anyway, it seems like the next one we're going to see what his plans are for all of this and kind of how they're going to treat it all. It was actually pretty good. We're finally reaching the hype of the story. So if you haven't been reading it, this might be a time where you could catch up and be okay with the story as opposed to the first couple issues where I was getting a little annoyed. But yeah, Captain Marvel, number 15. Next up on our list, Conan the Barbarian, number 13, came out this week. Yeah. How was it?
So this starts a Jim Zub's run.
It is
Jim Zub. I don't know how long it's going to be. Solid first issue from Jim Zub. Nothing crazy mind-altering with as far as Conan's story goes. Conan gets tossed into a dungeon, and with a group of people who have also been tossed in this dungeon, must figure out how to get out. Set up to a pretty standard Conan story, nothing crazy, but very well done. So obviously Conan's much smarter than everybody else because that's the way Conan Barbarian stories work. And everybody is trying to do other things, and he's like, no, wait, let them trip the trap. That way we don't die. Yeah, honestly, I mean, it was a good first issue. I've said it in the past, if you like Conan the Barbarian stories, you can pretty much jump in at any point. Because you don't really, other than the fact that you know he's a barbarian, you don't really need to know much. And yeah, it was a solid. I mean, anything from Jib Zub in the sword and sorcery realm is generally very good. So
yeah. Honestly, most of the time, if it's Jim Zub, I will go out of my way to read it. So, all right, that's Conan the Barbarian number 13. Daredevil number 18 did come out this week. We do not read it, but I'm letting you know anyway. Deceased, The Unkillables number 1 came out this week. I really enjoyed this.
Issue.
I really enjoyed this. It's about essentially Deathstroke experiencing it and how it doesn't turn him into a zombie.
Well, he does.
It does,
briefly,
but then he heals.
Then he heals from it. Yeah,
it's a very interesting concept.
Which is the argument I always made with Marvel zombies of why Wolverine shouldn't become a zombie.
Right.
Like, if anything, his healing factor should subvert the virus. Maybe make it so his healing, like he can't heal as well because his body is constantly trying to fight off the infection.
Right.
But hypothetically, that's what should happen.
Yeah.
Which is what Deathstroke does in this.
Yeah. And it's actually similar to Night of the Living Deadpool.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like Deadpool becomes a zombie and then becomes the cure to the zombies.
Exactly. Because that makes more sense to me for a healing factor based character.
It does. It does. And I feel like it's depending on the writer, because a lot of writers are like, yeah, this works. And then others are like, no, the zombie's going to heal himself. I really enjoyed it. I think this is a 100% must read.
Yep. I do also like how they cut to like Jason Todd.
Yes, which I was very surprised is the one that survives, but
I mean, but it works, and I like the character. And if anybody would probably do best in a zombie apocalypse,
it would be
the guy who has no issues shooting people. I also like when he meets up with Cassandra Cain and Jim Gordon. I thought that whole interaction was great. How he's like, listen, Bruce is dead, so let's drop the charade. Yeah. And Jim Gordon's like, okay, so these are all these people are superheroes. I got it. Cassandra Cain's just in the backseat, like waving. Hello. I thought it was really good. Also, really liked seeing Cassandra Cain as Batgirl again. Yeah, it was good.
I really liked that as well. At first, I was like, "Why does Damian have boobs?" That was my first thought. I was like, "Why?" Because it looks like the Batman suit that he got during Deceased. So it's like, oh, hell? And then she takes it off, and I was like, Cassandra Cain, of course.
So this is Deceased takes place firmly before the New 52. Yeah, it seems is basically how this seems to work out.
And I do like that whenever they do these DC spin-offs, they pretty much tell you where in the plot of the main story it is. Like,
I do like that. And they reference, last time I checked on Damian, he's with the others in Metropolis. Yep. Everybody get in the super Batmobile tank thing and let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, and then they tie the Joker's dead
That was awesome.
I loved it.
And I like how like Jim Gordon's like, really? And this a little much? He's like, it's a zombie apocalypse. Get off my back.
Yeah. And of all people to do it. Yeah. So DC's The Unkillables number 1, definitely worth getting.
Yes, 100%. If you enjoy the first series, this is, don't even question it. Buy it if you haven't already. Go now. Finish the show and then go.
Finish the show.
Yeah.
All right, next up is Deadpool number 3. So this is continuing the Deadpool is king of the Monster Island. If you remember last time, Deadpool got shot and then like erased out of existence.
Yes, by Elsa Bloodstone.
And this one we learned that essentially
teleporting bullets.
Yeah, the bullet essentially puts him in a pocket dimension for a little bit and saved him from Kraven's son. And it just kind of is doing standard Deadpool stuff. Nothing crazy happened. It wasn't a bad issue, but it was not a memorable either. Yeah. So Deadpool number 3. If you have been reading it, definitely worth continuing.
The art to me is still
the art in this one I feel is the kind that very much grows on you. Because I have started enjoying this art style. But I believe the story I read with it was Doctor Strange when he first gets his assistant Zelma. And they used this art style. At first, I was like, this is really bad. Yeah. And then as it went on, I'm like, all right. I'm kind of getting getting used to it. So yeah, Deadpool number 3.
Number 3.
Número 3.
Número 3 for our Spanish-speaking viewers.
Next up, Fantastic Four number 19 came out. If you've been reading that, might as well keep going. We do not, though. Flash Forward number 6. I believe this is the conclusion.
Yes. So we learn that. So basically, I mean, it's not a bad conclusion actually for Wally West. He learns that the only way to save the multiverse is to destroy the planet that has Jai and Iris on it.
Okay.
And the only way to do that is he has to sit in the Mobius chair. And the becoming the god of knowledge essentially will fix the infection, or it'll destroy the planet and fix the infection.
Okay.
So he has one final day with his kids, and then goes to sit on the chair. He does get Tempest Fuginot there to agree to take his kids back to.
Oh, so his kids survive.
Yeah, Earth Prime. Yeah, he's like, yeah, if I do this, you have to make sure they survive. And he was like, "Yep, I'll do it. Don't worry about it."
Sweet.
So he sits on the chair, and then it flashes Giant Iris back to Earth, where what's his wife's name off the top of my I can't remember off the top of my head. Linda.
Where
I was
Linda Iris.
I know. I was like, that's not right. So the kids come back, and Linda immediately remembers everything.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like they drop the kids off. And she's like, who the hell are you guys? So no, she immediately remembers everything. Remembers the kids. Remembers Wally, which is unfortunately since Wally's now gone. However, Wally sits on the chair, major spoilers, and becomes a new entity, which they do not name in the comic.
Okay.
But he does have the little Omega symbol, or he's essentially Dr.
He's the god of knowledge.
It seems like he's Dr. Manhattan at this point, because it even says, like, in the past, whoever sat on the chair knew everything but didn't do anything. We will create a new being or something like that. So no one knows. I know it's been speculated online that Wally's going to become some sort of a villain or something along the lines of Dr. Manhattan, but they don't specify in the comic. So it's a good ending to that arc, though. And it's interesting. It's interesting that they did this with Wally West, and it seems like they just brought him back.
They're doing weird stuff with this character. So, I feel like whenever they do a Flash story that they're like, this could be interesting. They're like, use Wally just in case.
Just to be safe. But, I mean, not a bad finishing the arc. I actually very much enjoyed this book. I thought it was quite good. So
okay. That is Flash Forward number 6, so it is the conclusion. So if you were interested in reading it, I might as well pick up the whole thing now.
Yeah, at this point.
So, Genlock number 11 came out this week. This is a DC comic, or a DC and Rooster Teeth collab comic.
Oh yeah,
it looks very similar to the Marvel mangaverse. So I'm going to call this the DC mangaverse. Just mentioning it because I saw it.
Isn't that like a web series they have is called Genlock or something like that?
I think so, because it is only $1.
Yeah, so it's probably a web series.
All right, so next up is Ghost Spider number 7.
Ghost Spider.
So this one in the last issue, we learned about the Sue and Johnny Storm from Ghost Spider's universe.
They're influencers.
And yeah, they were influencers. They disappeared when they went to Latveria. And last issue, they randomly reappeared. And it turns out that what was 6 years for everyone else was only a day for them.
Yep.
And so this is kind of this is essentially this is the Sue and Johnny of this universe. This is their origin. And Ghost Spider trying to figure out, well, if that's the case,
where do they go?
Where are the Fantastic Four? Who got those powers?
Yeah.
And we also see that the Maker is going to be involved in all of this.
Right, yes.
So
basically that's what this issue was. It was just setting up Sue and Johnny for this world and kind of goes. Gwen jumps around in it. She fights some thugs and things like that.
But
nothing crazy happened. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it is called The Secret Origin of Johnny and Susan Storm.
Yeah, so I guess it makes sense.
So yeah.
Not a bad issue, but
definitely not bad at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't say you should jump on Ghost Spider at this exact point, but
definitely not.
No,
definitely not. So, all right. Next up on our list, God Killers number 1. I'm not sure if you read this. Benny bought it, so I'm going to bring it up just in case. Nope. Okay. It's not any main publishers, so I wasn't sure.
That's probably why I didn't notice it. I probably assumed it was just something Ben wanted to look at.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured too. All right. Next up is Guardians of the Galaxy number 2. So this is continuing the arc with essentially the Dark Gods. Last time they went to the I'm going to call it the Citadel,
Sure.
to blow it up. They found Hercules is kind of powering it, like not by his own choice, obviously. And this is the issue of them handling everything. I don't want to spoil too much because the whole issue is them handling it. So,
Sure. Yeah.
I actually enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really liking that it is just Peter Quill and Rocket and others now.
Okay.
Because I felt like when they did the last Guardians of the Galaxy #1, I felt like they got too many new people.
Yeah, there was a lot on the team at one point.
There were a lot, and I feel like they kept the best ones to keep of like Phyla, Novar, Moondragon, like all of them. I felt like they were very good picks to keep around. And this ends in a very interesting way. I definitely actually recommend reading this one. I'm really enjoying it. And I also really like Rocket in a suit and tie because he looks suave. No joke.
So
All right.
got weird.
Jimmy Olsen #8 came out this week. Neither of us read that series. But Justice League #41 came out this week. I will let you talk about this.
This is
one
the
for a
Justice League gets its ass kicked.
All right,
Pretty much
next
what happened in the
time.
issue, honestly.
Yeah.
So the Eradicator shows up with the Daxamites. His I forget what they call him. I think it's the Eradicator Squadron or something like that. Anyway, it's Daxamites that have been kind of bred to get all of the good properties from the Yellow Sun, but none of the weaknesses that Superman sometimes gets.
Or the Daxamites.
Or the Daxamites get.
Because they used to be weak to lead, I believe.
Yeah, I believe it was. And basically, they just rip through the Justice League is essentially what this issue is. Batman's trying to get some magically based help from Mata Xanadu and does, and they kind of manage to get away, but not before pretty much the team almost gets wiped out and a certain member gets captured. And then Eradicator basically broadcasts to the world, in the next 24 hours, we will be taking over, and you can't stop us.
Yeah. It's an army of Supermen.
It's an army of Superman that are stronger than Superman.
Yeah.
So
this will be interesting to see how they handle this.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good issue. It was a fight issue.
Yeah.
And if you're rooting for the Justice League, don't. Because you'll be disappointed.
Then you clearly have not been reading any comics in a while because they always lose lately.
They lose a lot lately,
They are not very successful team.
Really? Realistically.
All right. So next up on our list is the League of Legends Z #4. I am actually really enjoying this series. I really enjoy the characters. I like the art style. Once again, this is a art style that has grown on me.
Okay.
I like it. It fits the story and the tone of the story so well.
Okay.
But so it's one of those ones that if you did read the first one and were iffy on the art, like I didn't like it at first. Maybe keep going. I mean, it grew on me, so it might grow on you as well. Like I really enjoyed this. We're 2 more issues left, so we're going to see kind of where it goes because we did finally get more of a confrontation between Zed and Shen. Yeah, I actually recommend this, especially if you enjoy the League of Legends series. Very, very good story. All right, next up on our list is Legion of Superheroes #4. I did not read this one. I've tried, but no.
Bendis. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Exactly. Bendis is my Tom King's Batman.
All of Bendis is
Pretty
my
much.
Tom King's Batman. Quote from Dan. Put it on the blurb for our biography movie for this show.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, next up. Oh, I love this one. Marauders #8.
Oh, it's a good issue.
This was probably the best Marauders issue we've had in a while.
There was a few kind of lull issues. Yeah, I agree.
Like, we're straight to the point. We're kind of seeing what Emma's doing, a little bit of... The one thing I will say that's been frustrating about the whole what's happening to Kitty is... Kate. The funny thing, I almost said that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, people won't know what I'm talking about. Every single other book has shown that she's back.
Yeah, but see, I was thinking the same thing because she shows up in Wolverine, which we'll get to. But we don't know when those are supposed to take place.
Well,
which
the
is my
Wolverine I will
argument.
agree
Which is
with.
my argument with all of these events or things that are supposed to be. It's obviously it's the mutant kingdom. But it's
Right.
like people. It's the same thing with X-23.
Yeah.
Depending on the book and the writer is depending how they depict her. So in Marauders, we've gone the last 2 issues trying to figure out if Kitty died
Yeah.
or if she's going to come back. And in like 3 other books, she's running around in her normal New Mutants costume.
Yeah. So
Doesn't have tattoos.
It's
If you look at in the Wolverine book, she doesn't have her tattoos either.
the Wolverine one. It's a flashback. I'm pretty sure.
It was only supposed to be a couple days. But that's my argument.
Pick a timeline.
That's my argument with these events book is that like nobody talks.
I mean, it is the X-Men.
That was true, and it's Marvel.
Timelines
Marvel's
is-
not great with that.
No, they are
So
not.
anyway, in this book, we learn that Kitty's dead, which is sad.
We're
pretty
pretty
sure. We're pretty sure. However, we did learn also Lockheed is alive. So who knows?
I'm
It was a good issue,
expecting.
though. It was a good issue.
Yeah, I'm expecting something to happen between him and the resurrection process.
I also like the fact that in this issue, one, we get to see how her friends react to the idea that Kitty is possibly dead, and they're not sure if she can come back, and the fact that they had left her. So obviously everybody's a little upset about that. And then you get like Storm's reaction towards Emma, which is, as you can probably assume, is not very polite.
I actually really liked how Emma handled it.
Yeah, she's just like, I mean, I can change time, and do you want to hit me in a little bit more? It's fine. I liked Bobby's reation towards the anti-mutants.
Oh my gosh, that
getting
was
around
good.
that whole "thou shalt not kill any humans" idea, because he doesn't have to kill them.
God, how long till they get rid of that? They've got to.
It can't last that long. Something's going to happen where they're going to. It's going to happen where they're like, all right, we're rescinding that law.
If anything, I would see it be what's happening with Kate. If she is not capable of being resurrected,
I could see
this would be what would remove that, because if they were able to kill them, they would not have lost her.
Right. True.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's what would have happened. So,
very good issue. Very as
good.
I've said from the beginning, this is my second favorite X-Men series going on right now. My first is obviously Excalibur. So,
fantastic
great
story.
issue.
Marauders number 8. Next up, Marvel's Black Widow Prelude, number 2 of 2 came out.
I did not read this one.
Me neither, but if you did want to read or if you enjoy the Prelude comics that they
To
do
the
before
MCU,
the movies, might as well check it out. Marvel's Voices number 1 came out. I do not know what this is, but it
I don't even know what that is.
looks
Let me see.
new too. I have no idea what this is. I guess it's inspired by the acclaimed podcast series.
No idea.
Yeah. The World Outside Your Window, Marvel's acclaimed podcast series focusing on telling the stories of diverse creators and their unique perspectives, becomes a one-shot of brand new adventures. The X-Men find their place in the world after declaring a new nation, Killmonger strikes, and Moon Girl and Devil Dino return. So, I mean,
Okay.
It's got a lot of different writers, and
Yeah, it's like an anthology, it sounds like.
it's only 34 pages. Surprised considering the number of writers. They must have had like a page each.
Yeah. Get 3 pages. Go.
It's like the wedding issue, except way shorter.
Yeah.
All right. Metal Men number 5 came out this week as well, if you've been following that story. All right. New Mutants number 7. So you remember how I always talk about how annoying it is that the comics have been jumping between 2 different stories?
Yes.
They reference that in this.
Oh.
One of them is doing a explanation of what's happening, and it's like, well, last time they did this, and then another one walks up and goes, it's not what's happening. There's 2 New Mutant stories going on right now. One's of these people at a farm.
Okay.
They specifically say it, and I'm like, if you knew
What your issue is.
Yeah, like my
Why haven't you
biggest
fixed it?
problem with the hopping back and forth is they don't finish arcs.
Right, yeah.
Like if they went, here's an arc, here's the other team's arc, I would be so fine with this, because it would have felt like Justice League and the Legion of Doom kind of situation.
Kind of, yeah.
But yeah, my biggest problem is it wasted 4 pages of the comic, because he's going, hey, by the way, because we didn't do this last time, this is what's going on. And so Yeah. As for the story itself, it does conclude the space adventure portion of the New Mutants.
Okay.
As a story, it wasn't bad. I mean, I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, I mean, you guys know my issues with it. It did not fix those issues, clearly. So yeah, New Mutants number 7. Next up on the list is Nightwing 69.
Nice. So I read online that Dick Grayson was back. So I'm like, all right, well, let me read Nightwing 69. He is not.
Nice.
The internet lied to me. He's almost back in the sense that now he's got the memories of Dick Grayson, the memories of Rick Grayson, and the memories of an alternate reality. Or false, they're false memories. They're not an alternate reality. False memories of him joining the Court of the Owls.
Okay.
And he's trying to figure out which ones are the real ones. That was basically this issue. And he discovers that the false memories were put in his head by a member of the Court of the Owls.
Okay.
But then before he can break free of the control, there's an explosion, and we're not really sure what memories he has.
Right.
So we're this close to getting Dick Grayson back. And then at the end, you discover Joker is plotting something, much like you did at the end of Batman. And he even says in the book, he's like, this is not my Nightwing. Who is this?
Is it the same Joker? Or
It
does it
seems
seem
to
like
be the
they
same
might
Joker.
be leading into 3 Jokers finally?
Doubtful. But it seems like the same Joker.
Okay.
Mostly because if in the Batman 80, whatever we're on, 89, 87, 86,
89,
80, whatever number
87, 88.
you see he has that wall of the Bat family, and it's like Dick Grayson. Point.
Yes.
Yeah. Damian. But so I would assume it's the same Joker trying to mess with the Bat family again. But not a bad issue. If you've been following the Rick Grayson run, we're almost at the end. And we're almost back to having Nightwing again. But yeah, I mean, not a bad issue, but I was really hoping to have Nightwing again. I'm looking forward to that first issue where it's Nightwing. Where it's Dick Grayson. He's back.
When it lives up
we
to
can
the
do
name
the
of the
recap
comic.
of all this Rick Grayson crap.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. Next up, a new DC Black Label of the Hill of Horrors came out. Plunge number 1.
Ben purchased them?
He did not.
Oh, okay.
I only just saw it as I was going through, and since it's a number 1,
I'll probably check it out.
I figured I'd let you guys know. Red Sonja, Age of Chaos number 2 came out. I'm not sure if you read that one.
I didn't see that one either.
I haven't logged in, so it doesn't tell me what was bought.
Okay.
I'm
I was going
just
to say, I
seeing
feel
what-
like Ben didn't buy a bunch then, because I don't remember seeing it.
There's a good chance. All right, Revenge of the Cosmic Ghost Rider number 3. So this is a very, very big fight issue with a couple flashbacks. We see the flashbacks as to how this Frank Castle became the Cosmic Ghost Rider. Pretty much everything you need to know about that.
Okay.
As well as a massive fight between Frank Castle and the dude that showed up at the end of the last issue that had gone to Mephisto to ask for Frank's soul. I'm not going to spoil what happens at the end because it's very misleading and it's very interesting to see where it might go. But it is still a fun issue. I really enjoy the Cosmic Ghost Rider. I think it's a fun character. And yeah, story's still good. Art's still good. Might as well check it out. Very, very actiony in this one. So if you...
Michael Bay's Cosmic Ghost Rider.
I mean, honestly... It seems like it's directed by Michael Bay because of the number of explosions. I mean, at one of the points, they literally crash into a planet, and he's like, so we just exterminated 2.5 million people.
That's a lot of people.
That I was going to ignore. So, yeah, I would say this one is worth continuing if you have been reading it. So, Runaways number 30 came out this week. Neither of us have been reading that one. I'm trying to see if there's any others that we might have missed that you might want to know about. Spawn number 305 is coming out. The only reason I mentioned that one is because I believe he's being added as the new character for, I want to say Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
Fun story. Fun little note. Teen Titans number 39 came out this week. I've been reading this one. So this is the next story arc after the other, since that finally got concluded. This is kind of everyone's rejoining up. They're fighting to get Jin out of the ring. And yeah, I mean, they fight against her brother, Elias. We learn kind of who he is, his goals, all like some interesting stuff with that. Nothing too crazy happens. The art is getting a little better, but it is still the person that I wasn't the biggest fan of, with the more blocky and kind of making them look older than they should be, considering they're the teen Titans. But yeah, this is the start of the new arc called the Jin War. So I have a feeling it's going to get really, really cool, because I believe the devil is going to be fighting heaven. Fun. All right. Next up on our list, another Hill comic came out this week, the Loki Woods #3.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. This is the one I'm not a fan of.
Okay.
This is the one that I read. Wait, it's #3, right? Okay, I read the first 2 issues, and it was extremely boring. So I didn't even read the third one.
Fair enough. Very fair.
Yeah, I was just like, ugh. Just the first 2 did not grab me at all. So.
Well, there you go. But
that's me.
That's a pretty decent review.
That's me. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that's my personal opinion. So I mean, if you have been enjoying it, great. But yeah, I was not a fan of these.
All right. Titans Burning Rage #7 came out this week. We do not read this one, but I'm gonna let you know regardless. Valkyrie Jane Foster #8 came out this week. This is the start of a new arc.
Yes.
We've got Thor is a big player in this arc, and we are talking about All-Father Thor.
Yes.
I believe this is pre-Herald of Thunder.
I believe so, too.
Despite the cover
I was going to say, even though the cover makes him look like that.
I mean, not even makes him look...
He is that. Yeah,
he is.
Yeah, the Herald
so,
of
Thunder. But they're trying to stop Anti-Life, which they give a explanation on what it is, how they're planning on bringing it back. If you did read the last arc, they are continuing the style of pretty much everything she does is said and talked about from a doctor's point of view.
Yes.
Like that just seems to be one of the big styles that they're using.
I mean, I understand the point of that. Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
But I do want to mention that to people because I'm sure some people might have found it annoying. I feel like this is one of those ones where it's equivalent to Spider-Man and his quips. It's something about the character, but because it's a new character, we're getting it new. And it's like, why are you forcing this on us? But I feel like as time goes on, it's going to be part of the character.
I mean, to me, that makes sense because Jane Foster is a doctor. So it would make sense for her to look at things from not only is she a doctor, now she is a otherworldly being that's supposed to usher the souls of the dead into the afterlife. So to me, like, it makes sense that she would look at it that direction.
I just wanted to mention it because the last arc was so doctor heavy.
Yes, it was.
That I wanted to mention that in case people are like, no, that was the worst part in my opinion. But I really enjoyed this. I liked her interactions with Thor. I really like how Thor treats her and respects her.
I also like the fact because a lot of other superheroes show up in this one: Spider-Man, Captain America, Doctor Strange.
You'd mention this.
I like Spider-Man. He rides horsey or horse,
Mr.
Horse, and he asks if he ever knew Buttercup. From his War of the Realms spinoff, which was probably one of the greatest Spider-Man moments in my personal opinion.
Oh, it was great.
I thought it was really nice that they kind of did a callback to that.
I really wish there's a little bit more in that interaction.
I do too. Like maybe he did know her. The Queen of Pegasus
or something. I don't know. Would have been great.
Anyway,
fantastic. Though
it was a good issue. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the Valkyrie series. Honestly, I think it's fantastic.
It has grown on me. The Doctor arc, I felt fell flat a little. I won't lie.
I understand what they were trying to do with it. I think it probably would have been better if it was only like a 2-issue arc.
Either that, or if it didn't wrap up as quickly.
Because
it was such a long lead up to essentially
basically a conversation.
Yeah, a conversation that was 2.5 pages.
Something like that. Yeah.
All right. Next up, Wolverine #1.
Don't you mean X-Force #4?
this is a combo issue of X-Force number 4 and Wolverine number 1.
I say that because I read this issue, and it's broken up into basically 2 different stories. And half of it feels like X-Force number 4.
It's got all the X-Force players.
It has all the X-Force players in it, and it's just Wolverine-centric. And he's not even that centric. It's basically the bookends with him.
It starts with the X-Force in the way that every single Wolverine story starts.
Generally, yeah.
Everyone's pretty much dead. He wakes up, doesn't know who he is or where he is, and is trying to figure something out.
Yeah. Now, the second part of it is Wolverine doing Wolverine stuff. He's trying to protect Krakoa. He has to deal with Omega Red and vampires. And I actually really like the second part. I thought the first part was kind of meh. Yeah. Honestly.
The first part I enjoyed when Kitty showed how she drinks alcohol. Because she was like, from my bartending days, I learned this trick because I hated the taste. But it allowed me to feel the buzz faster. And she literally just slams her hand through the glass and absorbs it. And I was like,
that's a good idea, actually.
It's a very good idea. I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like you said, it wasn't entirely Wolverine focused. I'm sure they had to do that because of the fact that we haven't had a Wolverine solo story in a while. That you kind of have to set the scene for the character in this version. So hopefully the next issue is going to be...
No, I did enjoy the second part.
Where he's hunting
vampires.
I honestly enjoyed both parts. Just the first, like you said, the first part is an X-Force story.
Yes.
So, all right. Next up on our list. Well, before I get to the last one, I will mention that the X-Men Fantastic Four number 1 came out as a normal issue. Not the director's cut. So if you wanted to read that one and not spend the, I want to say like $7 or $8.
Yeah, it's $8.
It's only $5 now. So, and our last story of the week is Wonder Twins number 12. I believe this was the very last issue of the Wonder Twins. They have been moved on to the Young Justice team, which is not referenced in this. And it's a big wrap-up issue. It wraps up everything that happened. It goes through the different characters, the friend, the dad of the friend, the Justice League handling it. And I really liked how they did it because the Justice League is like yelling at them like, you shouldn't have done this. Like, what the hell were you doing? It is not your job to stop this kind of thing. And she's like, yeah, it's your job and you didn't do it. Like, and even they were just like, what the hell? But there were a couple really fun little interactions. Like she's hiding her best friend in her apartment and they show up at the Hall of Justice and they're sitting right there and they're like, how did you find them? And Batman's like, you're asking the world's greatest detective how he found your best friend hiding in your apartment. Is that really your question? So it had some fun interactions. I am a little sad this one's going away because I did like the way that they treated the Justice League because they acted like the Justice League, but in a Wonder Twins fashion.
Right, yeah.
So it was good. It was a great ending. I actually did enjoy this one. I think it's worth checking out. If you have been reading it, definitely worth finishing. If you read it and you're kind of like, this is, maybe I'll join in on when the trade's done. Join in. It is done. Yeah, it was very good. I enjoyed it. So that brings us to the end of today's Comicstorian Weekly. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Once again, we do stream this live every Monday at twitch.tv/Comicstorian, where you can support us over there with a $5 sub or your Twitch Prime sub. You can also support us over on patreon.com/Comicstorian, where for $2 you get access to this podcast, other podcasts, and early access content. If you want to find more of Andy, he is at 4IamTheAndy on Instagram. If you want to find more of me, I am Dante Producer on Twitter and Instagram, and Dante Streamer on Twitch. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.